Welcome to our very first episode of FaithFuel for Single Moms. My name is Lenica and I'm the founder of the Single Mom Sorority, and we are so excited to bring you weekly content that is going to be your weekly dose of faith because we do not run on fear. So today's episode, we are talking about the Proverbs 31 woman. Now, we have been having some discussions up until this point of what it looks like to start preparing for our future husbands, to be women of God. And there is no better example than the Proverbs 31 woman. I have to believe that there's a reason God intended for Proverbs 31 to be given to us, this model and example of what an exemplary woman of God is. So with that said, let's get into it. As I was preparing for this teaching, I actually was shocked by some things that I was reading and just really didn't know. And one being that Proverbs 31 altogether was actually written for a king giving advice to his son. So you have this king who is basically sitting his son down, who's a prince and will one day be a king, and saying, hey, let me give you some advice on women and what is a good high quality woman versus what are women you do not want. So when we're delivered the Proverbs 31 woman, she's just not a woman of God. Like the Proverbs 31 woman is queen energy. This is a king telling his son, who will be king one day, this is the type of woman you want to look for because this is queen material. And that's what we're all about here, right? Knowing that we are daughters of a king and that we will be heirs and we will be sitting in his throne room one day, right? So we have been destined to be queens, and that is why he has given us an example of what that looks like for us to model. Now, I have to preface this by saying we as single moms, the struggle is real. It is very difficult just to get through the day, right? Working a full-time job and taking care of kids, and the boss energy that she's on can be very overwhelming. It can be intimidating, but we're going to pick some of the important pieces out of this that as we strive to be stronger women of God, higher quality women, really seeking our Boaz and just wanting that king that God has planned for us, it's important that we understand how we're called to operate. Okay? So let's get into it. The first thing is she knows her priorities. She is putting God first. First thing in the morning, she is putting God first. How do we know that? Because in verse 17, it says, she dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She dresses herself with strength. Where do you think when she is waking up in the morning, she is going for her source of strength? The word. She's going right to the word, knowing that the word is her source of strength. And it is making her arms strong. She's preparing. She's putting on that armor of God. She is preparing herself for the day. So that's important that we are putting God first as women of God. We also know that she is a strong woman of God and fears the Lord and trusts in the Lord. By verse 25 and 26, that says, strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come. Let me stop there. That's verse 25. So strength and dignity are her clothing. So she is walking in righteousness. You see her, and she is reflecting, righteousness and Christ, like what we've been called to do. So when you have an individual who is committed to that level of dignity, integrity, and they walk in it, you know that it's because they have that healthy fear of the Lord and what consequences may come, and therefore they're committed to their character and being Christ-like. It also said, and she laughs at the time to come. That shows that she's also very faithful. right? We are told by Paul in Philippians that we should be content in all circumstances. And so the fact that she can laugh at the time to come, she has joy in her spirit. She is happy. That's a sign that she has put all of her faith in God and she's not worried about really anything. And then verse 26 says, she opens her mouth with wisdom and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. So we know that the Bible says that the first step to wisdom is fear of the Lord. So that's the confirmation that she fears the Lord. But she also, on her tongue is kindness. And so she knows the power of her tongue, right? And that is spoken about in the Bible. So she knows that the power of life and death are on the tongue. And so she chooses to speak only life, only kindness, only gentleness. She's not out here gossiping, okay? So that's how we know that this woman, has her priorities right. So it's important that we have our priorities right, that we are making God the first part of our day, getting in that Bible, reading, that we have a healthy fear of the Lord, and that our faith is strong. That's only going to happen by getting in this word daily. Okay, next. She knows her value because she adds value. She doesn't walk around, insecure. She doesn't walk around letting people use her, disrespect her boundaries, all of that. She knows her value because she is a woman of value. How do we know? Verse 28 says, her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. So the fact that her kids acknowledge her, they respect her, her husband respects her, it's because she shows respect and she's respectable. She adds value to her house, and therefore she knows she's of value. She knows where her value comes from. She knows she is a daughter of the king. And so it's important that you too know your value. You're no different. So we want to be people of value, but also know whose we are. And he says that we are beloved, right? And we are truly his gift, and therefore you are valuable. And don't let anyone tell you different or have you feel any kind of worthless because they didn't see your value. So know your value. She's disciplined and hardworking. Verse 15 says, she rises while it is still yet night and provides food for her household. So you don't need to be waking up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. That's not what this is about. But it is about having that sense of discipline and waking up at a certain amount of time. You're not sleeping in. You have that strict schedule. You have that self-control where you're getting up, you're getting out of bed, you're just starting to grind. You're taking care of your house. You're taking care of your kids. Also, verse 27 says, she looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. So we know that she's working hard because she won't eat the bread of idleness. If she didn't work for it, she's not taking it. That can be interpreted as she's not even participating in that. If it's any kind of idleness, laziness, binge watching, scrolling endlessly, she's not participating in it. And us as women of God should not be participating in those things either if we want to step truly into our queen energy, that Proverbs 31 woman energy. Okay, next, she is an investor. She knows about money, she knows how to handle her money, and she knows how to invest her money, and she is successful at it. Verse 16 says, she considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. Then verse 18 says, she perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She is making money. They never have to cut off the electric. So this is important, especially as single moms where you are the main breadwinner, right? No one else is helping you out financially. And so if you do not have a lot of knowledge around money and wealth and investments, that is something I'm going to strongly encourage you to seek out. I will tell you now that if you have one source of income, you're never going to be wealthy. If you have a 8-to-5 job, you're never going to be wealthy, right? The wealthy know that the road to wealthy is investments. It's multiple streams of income. And so that's what you really want to take some time to start to learn about, okay? All right. She's also a servant. She's generous. So she's doing exactly what she's called to do. Verse 20 says, she opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. So she is very much committed to servanthood. Now, this woman in Proverbs 31, we know she's wealthy. We know this is a rich woman because her kids are dressed in scarlet, right? We know that she has all the money in the world, but yet she's still so humble, and she's generous, and she's giving, and she's letting the poor into her house, and she's feeding them. So it doesn't matter what situation you're in, we want to make sure that we are showing up. Christ showed up to serve and not to be served, and we're called to lead in a way of servant leadership. And so we want to find ourselves being generous, helping people out where we can, extending grace and just maybe letting people into our home, whatever it might be, participating in some mission stuff in your church. We want to definitely be out there being servants of the kingdom. I talked about the multiple streams of income, but I'll just confirm it. Verses 24, she makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers sashes to the merchants. So we got her investing in fields. She's buying fields, right? And she's also making garments and selling them. So that proves that she is financially intelligent and has that multiple streams of income. Okay, 2 more. Let's finish up here. She presents her best self to the world. So we recently did this 40 days of fabulous in the Single Mom Sorority, just me encouraging all the women to show up as their best selves. It can be difficult because we are worn out and tired all the time, but I encourage you to show up and show the world your best self, and the world will reflect back to you that same level of standard that you have held yourself to. She says here in verse 22, it says, she makes bed coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. So she is getting dressed and she is putting herself together and presenting her best self to the world. And finally, in 21, she is preparing for the future. She is not always reacting, but she is responding. She is preparing, and then her trust is in the Lord, where she doesn't fear a winter season. We all go through these seasons in life, and she is not fearing them because she's prepared. Verse 21, it says, she is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household are clothed in scarlet. So she's not afraid of snow. She's not afraid of this winter season. Come what may, she knows her trust is in the Lord. And that's where my trust needs to be. That's where your trust needs to be, because we know that truly He is the provider of everything we need. So that is a recap on the Proverbs 31 woman. When I looked at this kind of high level, I said this woman was focused on her relationship with God, taking care of her household, her money, and her health. Okay, so those were the things that this woman was, and taking care of others and being generous. This is what she was focused on. And so what we're going to do in the next couple of episodes coming up is those are the things we're going to focus on. We're going to have one committed just to money, one committed just to deepening your relationship with the Lord, one committed just to health and wellness and presenting your best self to the world, because you are a daughter of the King. Therefore, you are already born into royalty. So, honey, it's just time to put on that queen crown and start walking in queen energy. I'll catch you guys next week for our next episode of Faith Fuel. Have a great one.